friends, and thank you so much for tuning in to, oh my gosh, wow, great start, great start. Well, hello friends, and thank you so much for tuning in to Fun Ahead TV today. Behind me is my beloved 2001 Porsche 911 Carrera 4, the vehicle that has come to be known on this channel as Project Beef. We are in the process of making this thing Project Beefier because we are right in the middle of a total suspension overhaul on this vehicle. Basically, in the last episode, we began by tearing down the rear end of this car, getting all of the rear end suspension components taken off this thing, and then I revealed to you guys exactly what I'm doing to it to make it just an awesome track weekend monster. Coilovers and refreshing every single suspension component on this vehicle. Control arms, bushings, ball joints, you name it, it's all getting replaced. So short intro today because we have so much to do and little time to do it. It's almost April. It's driving season, people. So we're gonna start by tearing down the front of this car. That way all four corners are completely disassembled and ready to have all the new components put back up in her. And then we'll just start doing exactly that. I'm super psyched. Let's go ahead and do it.
Pull back, drop in, and just smack the lip. Bah!
So starting out, let's go ahead and take apart the rest of that front suspension. Boom, kind of crazy looking, but as you can see, we have a completely floating vehicle now. I also went ahead and did each and every one of the wheel bearings. All of those are replaced and cherry now. Here's a little bit of a sneak peek into that action. Now before we start diving, dodging, dipping, dodging, and ducking and diving back into the reassembly, I do just want to go ahead and talk about, well, what things didn't fare so well. To my knowledge, all of this stuff that we just removed from this thing is completely original. I think some odds and ends had been replaced over the years, like ball joints, but other than that, all of this hardware is completely original. How did all of the bushings look? That's oftentimes one of the things that gets overlooked and is one thing that can cause a lot of kind of ambiguity as far as feeling goes within a suspension system or within a steering system. What you want to look for is any kind of cracking between the metal at the center or outside of the bushing and the rubber itself. And it's usually made pretty obvious when you actually see one of the cracks. But actually all of these bushings were really, really solid, surprisingly, but not all of them looked super good. For example, this is the one from the right front. This is the right front lower control arm. These bushings looked not quite as good. It's gonna be hard to see on camera, but in the very middle of this bushing, you can see a wrinkly section, and that is the area of the bushing where it has fatigued. Even though the bushings overall looked pretty good, there were definitely some that were worse looking than others. So aside from bushings and ball joints, the suspension itself was definitely kind of sad. You can tell there was just a little bit too much free motion up inside of it. And even though they hadn't puked out all of their fluid over time, these things were still damping just fine. No doubt they weren't up to prime. In addition, the bump stops started to disintegrate and the radial bearings up top began to make noise. They don't have play in them at all, but they definitely were starting to go bad. And lastly, the wheel bearings were definitely showing a decent bit of wear. Two of them were just fine, but I think it was the left rear and the right front were making a little bit of crunching noise. These things should be absolutely silent when you spin them, and you could definitely hear the left rear and right fronts. All of this stuff that I just mentioned adds up to additional compliance. All of that little bit of extra just bushing play or the dampers not quite behaving to their full potential, all of that adds up to just some ambiguity at speed, a little bit more kind of floatiness feeling. And even though the steering still felt very tight in this, you could definitely tell that, you know, she was a little floaty and aging. Now that we've analyzed all this stuff, let's start putting this thing back together. Well, look at them yo-yos. That's the way you do it. Playing the guitar on the MTV. So it is now time to begin thinking about putting the coilovers back up and in this car, but unfortunately, they're not quite as plug and play as a non-adjustable suspension system. Because there is so much adjustability with coilovers, your ride height can vary dramatically. And then you spend a ton of time fine tuning them, which takes a very long time and it's very tedious in order to get the right ride height. This is one of the front coilovers right here. Now, Like I said, one of the benefits to coilovers is the fact that it gives you so much adjustability. I'm talking about spring adjustability and ride height adjustability. How does that work exactly? Well, you can see these different collars that are on this threaded portion of this shock tube. Now I'm not moving these collars for the spring right now because I have the spring set exactly where I want them for now, but we need to set this shock, like I said, preliminarily in order to estimate where we think the car will sit and sag when we first put it on the ground. So the spring preload is an initial setting right now. We might end up adjusting it of what we think will give us around 50 millimeters of sag when we first set the car on the ground. The other adjustment here is the ride height. Now, because these are two separate things, you don't adjust the spring in order to adjust the ride height. Two very, very independent settings from one another. Now this right here, you can see that I can thread this down. Now this is impacting the total length of this entire suspension component, which is therefore impacting the ride height. Good news is we can set the car lower to help it perform better on track, lowering the center of gravity of the car. That always translates into better performance going into corners when your CG is lower. Bad news is the initial setting based on a calculation is just going to be a guess. We have no idea where this adjustment needs to be in order to translate into the final ride height that we want. So therefore I need to go do some calculations to guess how much, or what height rather, what total length of this suspension component I need to have this be in order for the final ride height that we want, based on the estimated amount of sag that I think we're gonna have when we first compress the spring and the overall total length of this shock. All right, first part of this process is going ahead and, well, installing this coilover. Let's do it. All right, so we've got it up against our little spacer here on the lower part of the tube, and we can remove our punch, and there, now it's gonna hold itself in place. I went ahead and just preliminarily installed our caliper here. It's just sitting here loosely, just so that it's out of the way, because it was hanging right near where this control arm bushing mounts to the frame. I went ahead and swapped over our little mount for the headlight level sensor. And I'm just gonna leave this loose for now. As you can see, this bolt is loose, control arm's loose, but we are gonna go ahead and put this ball joint up into our wheel carrier here. And before I forget, I am just gonna put this little arm for our height sensor on, because I know I will forget. And lastly, I'm just gonna preliminarily tighten this wheel carrier down to our strut here. And then off camera, I went ahead and tightened down our outer tie rod end ball joint and our lower ball joint on the lower control arm. Now we just need to put on our frontmost control arms, but those have to be kind of put on in tandem with our front sway bar. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting that stuff together, and we can officially call the suspension reassembled in the front. Ooh, ee-hee and tee-hee. You know what I'm saying? I freaking love the look of these coilovers up in my 911. It's sporty, baby. Race car stuff, you know what I mean? So we have everything preliminarily back together. The control arms are still a little bit loose because we still need to set what's called the 1G level for those bushings, i.e. you need to set those at the sag level so that once the suspension is completely compressed, you're not overstressing the bushings. Obviously that's more of a thing with the stock suspension because stock suspension has so much more travel, but nonetheless, it's good practice to just do it all the time just so you're not wearing out your bushings prematurely. We are gonna have to go ahead and put the brake hardware on in order to set the car on the ground to check ride height, but I am leaving the sway bar link off for now because the shock will need the freedom to turn. So that will be one of the last things that we install. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the brake hardware on, then we can actually move to the back end, install that, and then we can actually put this puppy on the ground for the very first time, which I'm freaking psyched to do. Well, everyone, great news. I have all four corners of this car preliminarily installed and assembled, which I'm very excited about. Bad news, however. Remember that time I told you guys that I spent a bunch of time doing the initial calculations to be able to set the ride height and the sag properly so that we wouldn't have to do a bunch of adjusting after we put it all back together? Do you remember me saying that?
Oh.
Yeah. Needless to say, somewhere along the line, your boy made a mistake. Well, all right, we have the whip back up in the air. Wheels are off, as you can see. It's time to make some adjustments. So first, we're going to tackle suspension droop, of which we don't have enough yet. Like I said, we drooped on all four corners right around 35 millimeters. Feel suspension says you want between 40 and 55 millimeters, ideally 50. So therefore, I'm going to shoot for that 50 number. If we were to be closer to that 50 millimeters of droop, we would be right in that range of 1 to 1.25 inches lower than the stock ride height in the rear. So therefore, I'm not going to adjust the height adjustment currently for the rear shocks. I'm only going to try to hone in our droop. And I'm going ahead and loosening this locking collar for the spring preload. What I'm gonna do is loosen this one entire turn. Well, good morning. It's now the next morning, and it's time to right some wrongs with regards to my silly little front end suspension calculation. I believe I added when I was supposed to subtract, and therefore my final overall length for the suspension ended up being much, much longer than it should have. Whoopsies. I was able to get the sag or the droop of the suspension to be roughly where we want it on all four corners. I wanted to get all that roughly set before we actually start messing with the ride height of the front suspension, just so that we change one variable at a time. Let's go ahead and start changing our front suspension. So we need this wheel to be about 60 millimeters lower than what it is currently when the weight is set on the car. Now, from the fulcrum of our control arm, the point where the shock moves is roughly 2/3 the length of the overall control arm, whereas the wheel obviously is at the full length of the control arm. So that 60 millimeters of wheel motion translates into 40 millimeters of shock motion. Now, as you can see, I've already inserted our coupler spreader 5000 here to keep our collar nice and open. And obviously, I've got this lock collar loosened up as well. That's normally down here, so that we can, boom, turn our shock nicely. Also went ahead and put a mark here. That will be our mark that helps us keep track of every single revolution that we need to do. We need to turn this thing 27 revolutions into this tube. That will decrease the overall length by 40 millimeters. Let's get to turning. Hopefully I don't lose count. Moment of truth, people. It's time we put this thing on the ground after making a ride height adjustment in the front and see if we're actually in the ballpark of where we need to be. As you can see, just right off the bat, the front suspension already looks 100 times better with no weight of the car on it. So clearly, we moved it quite a bit. I'm eager to see where this is gonna land. Check it out, friends. This is literally the many hours later situation, because I have done so much fine tuning of these adjustments off camera. It took me a long time, but we finally have the proper amount of droop in all four corners, and we have the proper ride height. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Is it too low? Is it not quite low enough? Let me tell you the measurements. So remember how I was originally targeting 1 to 1.25 inches. Well, as I started messing with this, I realized a little bit actually goes a long way. I settled on 0.75. I made the rear exactly 0.75 inches lower than stock, and the front is actually probably close to 0.85 inches lower than stock. And here we are with the final result. I decided that 1 was maybe a little too low. I don't want it to look like it's slammed, you know what I mean? That's just not my style. Plus, you start running into some practicality issues there when you go around, driving around town and start scraping on stuff. I don't want to do that. I want this thing to still be plenty streetable and a total track weekend monster as well. But yeah, please let me know what you think down in the comments. Should I go lower? Am I not quite low enough? Or am I kind of at that sweet spot? I would love to hear your feedback. With that, we're going to go ahead and call it for today. I know, you would love to see me drive this thing, but we've got several more things to do. For one, I have to tidy everything up. Like right now, the parking brake isn't even reinstalled. I left everything 80% finished with regards to bundling all four corners up because I wasn't sure if I was gonna have to take apart any of the wheel carriers, take apart any of those control arms to adjust anything. But we also have my super secret project. I know, I haven't told you guys what it is yet, but in the next episode, we're going to be tackling it, and then we'll take this thing for the very first drive with the new suspension and with the completion of our super secret project. Drop that down in the comments if you have any idea what that might be. We just did suspension, i.e. we upped our cornering capabilities. Last year, we built the most bulletproof, reliable M96 engine on the planet. So how do you make the most bulletproof, reliable M96 engine on the planet even more bulletproof, reliable to be able to handle higher cornering Gs? Drop down in the comments if you have any idea what I'm talking about. I think Erwin got it right maybe, I don't know, 6-8 months ago when I had mentioned what we're going to be doing eventually to beef this engine up even more. So anyway, with that, we will go ahead and call it here for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. And please share this video with your friends, family, colleagues, whatever, anyone else you think might enjoy this video. And hey, if you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. We've got brand new automotive content coming down the pipeline to you via Funhead TV every single week, so you're not gonna wanna miss it. Might as well hit that bell while you're at it so you get notified the moment any of my content goes live. Thank you again so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Yes, you, I'm looking right at you, and I will see you all in the next video. Later, friends.
Pull back. Drop in and just smack the lip.
The ripping and the tearing, the ripping and the tearing.